You're scrolling on Instagram when a vibrant model catches your eye and you feel a rush of inspiration. You grab your model, throw the boring box art out the door, and prepare to paint something new.
Something beyond just a base coat, highlight, and shadow, but something exciting.
You sit down and then realize you don't know what you're doing. Painting vibrant and colorful models can be a bit intimidating. How do you know what colors to choose? How do you actually go about painting this color scheme?
Here are the 2 tricks you need to get interesting and vibrant color schemes. Let's get into the video.
This video is sponsored by Into the AM. The first thing we need to do is choose a color scheme. The techniques I'm talking about in this video can be used to make boring color schemes into something interesting, or to help you start with something more exciting right from the beginning. For this project, I'm starting with the box art and we'll make it more exciting as we go through this video.
Hi, what's up? How's it go? That is poster tack! Come on, come here. Oh, did you want to stay for a minute? No.
Figures. For this video, I'm painting Celestine the Living Saint from Warhammer 40k. Now that I have my basic color scheme, let's go on to the fun part. Technique 1. Choose interesting highlights and shadows for our chosen color scheme.
There are 2 techniques that people frequently use to create the highlights and shadows for their color scheme.
Either adding black and white to your paint, just using lighter and darker paints within the same color family, or to put it in reference for the rest of this video, going up and down the value spectrum of our chosen color. Doing so would create a gold that looks something like this. While this is totally fine, it's boring. To create something more dynamic, instead of going up and down the value spectrum, we are going to go diagonally down the hue and value spectrum.
So how do we use this diagonal line to create our highlights and shadows?
Take each main color from your color scheme and decide if it's the highlight, midtone, or shadow. I want this gold to be my midtone, so I'm going to draw my line where my gold is in the middle, or at least closer to the middle. This line now clearly illustrates what colors we can use in our highlights, midtones, and shadows to create a far more exciting color scheme. The sharpness of the angle will determine how intense of a difference we have between our highlight, midtone, and shadow. The closer the line is to vertical, the easier the gradation will be to paint, as it will not travel across as many hues.
Remember, this is a guide on how to create interesting colors, not a guide for contrast.
So you may have to increase the difference between your dark and light more than what you see here in our diagonal illustration. The second thing we want to do is replace any boring colors. I would consider boring colors like black, brown, or gray. Replacing black is really easy. Basically, any darker color will work. Deep purple, deep red, deep green, or here, deep blue. Whatever color you choose, be sure to use that for your highlight and shadows as well. Or use our previously discussed diagonal line to add interest to your highlights and shadows. To replace a boring brown color is slightly more difficult. The easy answer is to replace it with orange or red, but really you can start with any color, add a bit of brown, and it will be far more interesting. To replace gray is very similar to replacing black. I would use any muted, cooler color. So muted green, muted purple, muted blue, you get the idea.
You might be wondering how to keep your model cohesive overall without turning into a jumbled mess of colors.
First, I recommend painting your model all of your main colors. That will give you at least a general idea of if these colors are going to work together. If you are still worried, decide if you want to go warm or cool in your color scheme. Choosing to stick with warm tones or cool tones will help solidify your color scheme and your model overall. It will also help making choices of what diagonal line you should go on a lot easier. Sticking with all warm tones or all cool tones is a no-fail way to create a stunning and unique model. Let's take a moment to talk about this week's sponsor, Into the AM. When I'm working, I want to wear something comfortable, and if it can be cool and inspiring, even better. Into the AM, shirts are comfortable, high quality, and come in a variety of styles from basic colors to vibrant graphics. Into the AM is offering 2 bundles, 3 graphic tees for $60 or 3 basic tees for $45. Viewers can get a further 10% off by using the link in my description box. Alright, back to the video. In order to achieve every color in your angled gradient, we're going to need to use every color in our gradient. I'm placing all of my colors on my palette and creating my gradient from them. I'm mixing a yellowish green for my highlight, gold, red, and then magenta. Once my colors are mixed, go about painting using your favorite style. I start with a bit of airbrush work to place these base gradients because I am spanning a pretty large spectrum, going from near yellow-green to magenta. You definitely don't have to create this large of a spectrum. This is a challenge that I wanted to do myself. You might also have to accept that your blends aren't going to be perfectly smooth. The larger your gradient, the more difficult it becomes to get that perfectly smooth gradation. So accept that this might be more of an artistic application and instead focus on the atmosphere and feeling of your model instead of the perfection of it. Before I go, here is a list of my favorite color recipes and color combinations. For silver armor, try doing blue and cream instead. Or if you want to go even more wild, try blue to muted green. For my gold, my favorite color is the sickly yellow. Whether I'm going warm or cool, this is always my top choice of highlight color. So the next time you go to your gaming store or take your paint and paint supplies over to a friend's house, I want to know, can you see your model from across the way? And if so, what do your friends think? Also, quick moment to look at this amazing travel case from Frontier Gaming. It is absolutely gorgeous. All right, you know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you next time.